Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be. Uh, right here, right now, where I am, it's night, and I can see that it's night. I don't have anyone. No one has to tell me that. I can make that judgment on my own, by myself. I make that judgment. Just look out the window, look at my clock, or whatever. So I know it's night. I know what time it is. I know whether it's night or day. Without anyone telling me. I can do that on my own. And we need more of that. We need more. We need everyone to be able to make up their own minds about things. Make up your own mind. Free your mind. And we seem to prefer to be told what to think by some ideology, some ideologue, some political party, some politician, some news pundit. Somebody want to tell me what to think, Because, you want to make up your own mind. That takes work. It takes some work, some research, thinking, reading. Be informed. How are we informed? Today, it's all politics. We're informed by the political parties. It's all in that little package of politics. It's a much bigger world. It's a much bigger world than just politics. And that's something that it's very difficult to get across to people. Because they seem to think they know everything as long as they, within the scope of politics, which is everything to people now. Politics is like everything. Mao said everything is politics, or politics is everything. I think he said politics is everything. Well, that might be true, but everything isn't politics. Or everything is politics. Let me get this right. I think he said everything is politics. Okay, so everything is politics, but politics isn't everything. It's a very small universe, political. The political arena is a very small universe. And there's this writer, this author. It's out of Harvard, believe it or not. And he was a pioneer of sociobiology. His name was E.O. Wilson, Edward O. Wilson. And he, as I say, he was a pioneer of sociobiology, which was, it's a great work. It was a trilogy. And he just explained how we are genetically programmed. How a lot, maybe most of what we are, is genetically induced. Our genes. And he was pretty much attacked from every side, everybody. People don't want to believe this. People don't want to believe in their very own natures. We want to believe that we exist on a higher plane than the natural plane, and we are above it in some respect. But when you, come right down to it, we know genetics plays a large part in how we are, our behaviors, our intellect, our talents, whatever. I hear a lot about. I hear like advertisements and stuff on the radio, or announcements on the radio, and we have like was one. So one announcement was like about people having infinite ways. Like everyone has infinite possibilities. Excuse me? Not really. Not really. So I guess we don't want to be confined by nature. We want to be, limitless possibilities. That can't be. So this guy, Edward O. Wilson, had this sociobiology, and he said, to paraphrase, he said, it's better to have this biological knowledge by which we can be able to, by which we'll be able to steer a course for ourselves, rather than having the biological properties decide what that course is. And why do we need that? Why do we need to have this biological knowledge? Here's an example. The welfare agency. That was created by Franklin Roosevelt. And the mission was to assist people in need, to assist the needy. And of course, sent this. So they passed this bill, the welfare bill, whatever it was. And so then it's passed, and then it's sent to some bureaucrats to figure out how to implement it. So the idea was to help people in need temporarily, as they needed, as long as they needed this help, and then eventually have them be able to fend for themselves, so to speak. So the welfare agency made up these rules that benefited the welfare agency, did not benefit the people they were supposed to be helping. They made these rules that made it almost impossible to get off of welfare. And then they expanded the net for people who qualified for welfare. So what they were doing, some of the rules that they made were, if you're on welfare, you can't be married, you can't have a job, you can't have a bank account. In other words, you have to be totally dependent on the government, on the welfare agency. Because why? Because the welfare agency was looking out for itself. And this is what organisms do. You can look at that collection of people, any collection of people, as an organism operating naturally. And every organism is out for itself. Every organism seeks to survive indefinitely, however. And this is what the welfare bureaucrats were doing. They were looking out for their organism, what they belong to, the organism that they belong to. And they made rules and regulations so that would be in favor of their existence, of their ongoing existence. If these bureaucrats were informed by Edward O. Wilson and his sociobiology, they would have realized what they were doing was not for the people that they were supposedly helping, but for themselves. They would realize that, right? Because that's what organisms do. They would see that. They could see beyond that with the biological knowledge, with the knowledge of their biology, the knowledge of their genetic makeup. What they were doing was not in the best interests of the people that they were meant to serve, to help out. So that's just one example of how and why we need to know what's going on biologically. So we can, be able to direct ourselves on a course that is not that just kind of self-serving organism. That's just one example how this can be. There's also I think I talked about this in another video too. There's been studies about the genetic influence for choosing political affiliations, choosing to be on the left, choosing to be on the right, some genetic influence there. That's another thing. So, you look at what's going on in the political arena, and the left and the right, to the extreme left, extreme right, they can't be reasoned with. They can't be reasoned with. Rationality goes out the window, or somewhere. They just lose the rationality. They just kind of into these extreme views that they just are under some self-imposed, because it comes from the genetics, and self-imposed this whole thing, and they can't understand anything else. They can't bend. They can't. There's no leeway. There's no wiggle room there. And if we see that, we understand that, then we can have a better discourse between the two sides. It's not everyone's affected by this. Not everyone has that. It's not cut and dry. I think when you're on the extreme of either side, I think it is a mostly genetic thing. So, we can go on like this and not have an appreciation of what's going on with us and what's going on in the world, or we can question ourselves. It takes a lot of work to have a free mind, to be able to make up your own mind. It takes a lot of work. It takes research, thinking, research, introspection, knowledge of the world. And I don't think that's, and it's highly recommended. Highly recommended. I don't know. I think all this stuff just falls on deaf ears, and nobody really, you know, wants to bother. They're just into this, this political fight. They're just into this, on one side or the other, and they're just hooked on it. It's like a drug. It just gets a hold of people, and that's where we are. That's where we are. But the world is much bigger than the political arena. The world is much bigger than that. And I invite you, I invite you to join that bigger world. Thank you.